Pastor Stan Lubeck here. I'm coming to you from Grenada here in the Caribbean, just such a beautiful location. This week I've been talking to leaders in churches about how to increase their capacity. The real focus was, how do you take your ministry and take it from 30 to 60 to 100-fold without burning yourself out? So that's quite a good topic. But as I travel, as I coach, as I spend time in churches in a variety of places, I see things that I think contribute to a mediocre ministry or a mediocre small group. And, sometimes when I go into churches, they love to hear what I think and what I have to say. Other churches I go to, they really don't want to hear from me. So I thought I'd make this video for those of you who care and want to hear what I think is 12 reasons why many churches have mediocre small groups. Are you ready? Here we go. Okay, number one is what I call next step clarity. That means that if you're a church that wants to get people into small groups, you need to make sure that the information is on the website, you have a kiosk, you have leaders who know how to sign people up for their small group, you have leaders that are out fishing trying to encourage people to come to their small group. One church that I attended, the pastor got up in front, he told all the men that he wanted them to get into a men's group, and he told them they should go to the one that's on Mondays, but he failed to say what time it met and where it met and how you could get connected. Number two is lack of hospitality. A lot of times in churches, they say they want people to get into a group, but there's really no hospitality to come alongside people and help them get connected. In fact, one group I found and joined, hospitality means love of strangers. And so I showed up. Nobody asked my name, nobody introduced themselves. In fact, as I walked in, the leader, the only thing he asked me is if I'd done the homework that he had emailed out. Well, obviously I was brand new, I'd never been there, and I said no, I hadn't done the homework, so I sat down, and the leader lectured for the rest of the hour. Beyond that, there was just so little hospitality. It was clear that it was us four, no more, shut the door. They weren't really looking for new people to join them. Number three is lack of follow-up. Once I got involved in this men's group, began attending for a number of months, and felt like I got to know everybody, but what I noticed was people came and went all the time, and so there were times when I had to be out of town and I was gone for a while, and the reality is that nobody ever followed up. Nobody called me, nobody texted me, nobody emailed me to see how I was doing or if I was coming back, and I just felt like, the follow-up of looking out for those lost sheep was really non-existent. The fourth element, I would say, is lack of follow-through. So there's follow-up, but follow-through is such that my wife signed up for a small group and thought, well, this would be a great way for us to get to know people in the church. Well, the following Sunday, the lead pastor grabbed us and said, hey, I really don't want you in that group. For whatever reason, he thought we weren't a good fit for that group. But the sad part was that he didn't follow through and make sure we got into a group. He didn't tell us a group he wanted us to be in. Number five, ill-prepared meetings. If a leader is not putting time into the preparation for the Bible study, people figure that out. They're no dummies. And so they'll stop showing up because they feel like it's not worthwhile for them to come. And so I think it's important to hold leaders accountable, to have them submit their outlines, what they're teaching. And so it's that old thing of it's not what you expect, but what you inspect that counts. And I think anybody leading a small group ought to be willing to give accountability to somebody, what they're teaching and what their plans are. The sixth principle of a mediocre small group is what I call delayed follow-up with guests. And what I mean by that is, if somebody shows interest in the group, we should be contacting them like that night or the next day, not more than 24 hours later. So if somebody signs up at church or they put it on a prayer card, we should get back to them right away. Anybody in sales knows that the longer you delay in contacting somebody who wants some information, the less likely it is that they're going to follow up. It's like fishing. The longer you leave that fish on the hook, the more likely it's going to get off the hook and get away. The number 7 sign of a mediocre small group is putting guests on the spot. If somebody's brand new, don't embarrass them by asking Bible questions that they don't know or asking them personal information. And if you're going to pray, don't ask them to pray, because some people have a hard time praying. Let them know that it's a safe place, and if they want to participate, if they want to pray, fine, but you don't call upon them or make them do something they're not ready to do. And number 8, don't expect anything from your regulars. Don't expect them to do their homework, don't expect them to show up. Just be glad they show up whenever they want to. And so those low expectations usually mean that the group members will lower the bar. People will think that it's just optional to show up, and the group is going to honestly fall apart all by itself if you do that. Principle number 9 is neglect having an apprentice. Neglect having somebody to assist that you're training, that if the group grows, that they can launch a second group, and you can keep the group small because you've prepared for it by preparing another leader to take part of the group. And so, there's an old phrase that says, success without a successor is failure. Principle number 10 of a mediocre small group is lack of community. The thing that people long for is to connect with one another. So you need to be creative in how you learn how to connect people in the group, but also outside of the group. That's why it's good to take field trips, do something outside of the group, do serve projects, go serve the poor, do something together as a group, take a trip. The time in the car can be very valuable for getting to know each other better, and sometimes groups can be meeting for a long time, and there's no chance for the people to get to know each other. They're in a Bible study, but they really don't know others in the group, and that's a sad thing. Number 11 follows this principle, and that is neglect building relationships outside of the group. And I just said it, plan field trips, do something outside of the group, because those extra things that you do, have a game night. Oftentimes those relationships become very precious, and it also enhances the small group as people trust each other as they share their lives together. Number 12 for a mediocre small group, of course, is lecture. If you want to wax elegant as a leader and you don't want people to feel like they have a contribution to make, then you just lecture and tell everybody all the wonderful things that you know. Because sooner or later those people are going to fall by the wayside, they're going to feel like they're inadequate, they don't know enough, and you're the all-knowing person that's trying to carry the load. And all the research tells you that if you lecture, that is the least effective way of communication and of helping people to learn. So there you have it, 12 principles for a mediocre small group. I hope that helps. God's best to you. Bye for now.